Hello, I'm Trudy, One Grounded Angel. This is the weekly angel card reading for the week beginning July the 24th to the 30th, 2017. So I've had 2 weeks off on holiday. I've come back raring to go. But before I start, I just want to say it's been a rough week for a lot of you this past week. And I know that's what I'm seeing within myself and within the people around me and people who've been contacting me as well. So I just wanted to let everybody know, just try and breathe easy for all the changes that are going on. So what happened last week was that Uranus, the planet that's associated with change, rebellion, pushing yourself out past your limits, was doing some crazy aspects, particularly on Thursday here in Australia and Wednesday on the US and that side of the international dateline, which may have been making you feel like emotional firstly, but also frustration. You'll be second guessing if you're in the process of change, wondering if that's a good idea. You'll be feeling like you might be going backwards. If you have been being pushed to make changes and you've been resisting that, you will have been getting a lot of really aggressive kind of energy hitting you, really putting the pressure on you to make those changes. So if you're kind of hiding out in fear, trying to avoid that, you'll be feeling that in particular. So the important thing is not to freak out too much. Look at if it's trying to tell you something. Could have been pushing up old fears. Whenever there's a retrograde, it means old stuff from the past. So for me in particular, I had some old fears coming up again. I was like, whoa, thought I resolved all this. Turns out not so much. So anyway, I guess because I follow a lot of astrologers. I'm not an astrologer myself, although I am certainly an avid follower of astrology. I'm not a professional. I knew that this was just a temporary movement that would pass. So I knew not to kind of, just to let go whatever my brain was thinking, just to let it pass and not to kind of buy into those messages. So hopefully we're all feeling a little bit calmer now, a little bit like, don't know what happened. That was full on and ready for the next week. And it is going to be a big week because the sun is now in Leo, and Leo is a sign associated with our life purpose. It's associated with motivation, with action, and it's very much about getting started on the things that you want to make happen in your life. And there's a lot of other star stuff going on that's going to help you with that, particularly the influence of Mars, the motivating planet. So let's get started. I've actually chosen to start with this particular card deck because it's associated with action, and I think that's what we need right now. By the way, the moon is also coming into Leo as well. So there's a lot of stars in Leo. Or the fifth house, I should say, really, which is associated with Leo. And so we tend to think of Leo as being a very arrogant or a selfish sign, and that's not a very fair summary. It can be selfish, but so can a lot of people, regardless of their sign. It's not necessarily the case, but it does tend to make us focus inwards on who am I, what have I got to offer the world? And so it's time for you to step forward with that. If you've been delaying for any reason, the planets aren't going to let you get away with that for too much longer. So Monday, hello. So I chose that deck because it's associated with action, which is what we need, and it's also got a lion on the front, which I thought was symbolic. But interestingly, the card that's come up for Monday is about romance, which I did not expect at all. Not that things are necessarily predictable with the angels. So the lovers, it's associated with, it's ruled by Archangel Raphael. He's associated with romance as well as with healing, and those are closely entwined because a lot of the struggles that we face in our love lives are to do with past wounds, things that have happened in the past that we haven't healed from, and it's when we heal that we can kind of step forward into a new realm of happiness in our love lives. So this card, when I tune into it, it's talking about, it is about some healing that needs to happen, but it's also about positive things ahead in our love lives, which is good. Everybody needs good things in their love life, I think. And it's sort of letting you know that what they're saying to me is that they want you to know that you are absolutely worthy of love. When you're single for a long time, you can really start to doubt that. I know, I certainly did. I sort of thought, well, if I was meant to be with someone, I would be by now. This isn't happening. There must be something wrong with me. What am I doing wrong? I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. you can see how the brain starts to spin out of control and just makes up all these stories which actually are not true. But it's easy to believe them because they seem like logical deductions based on what you were seeing in front of you. But a couple of things that I've learned, and I'm again no expert on anything. What I've learned is that what is happening in your present is not necessarily indicative of your future. So if you're really struggling to meet someone and have been for a number of years, that does not mean you will never meet someone. So please don't buy into that. There is always hope. And the other thing is, so talking about wanting you to know that you're worthy of love and that you deserve to be loved, and that what's happened in the past doesn't mean anything. So if you've attracted men or women who didn't have the capacity or the emotional intelligence to give you the love that you needed and deserved, that doesn't mean anything for your future. It does not mean that that's always going to be what you attract. I do think in saying that there is some value in looking at the type of person you've attracted, because sometimes there's a lesson there. For example, if you're always attracting people who are already in relationships and you're there a bit on the side, that goes to show that there's a bit of healing for you to do there, because it's not healthy to be someone's kind of plan B, maybe, if they can be bothered. You deserve to be with someone who's completely available. So there might be some self-worth issues to examine there. What else do I need to tell you about this card? People already in relationships, what they're saying here is a need to I was going to say work on the relationship, but perhaps that's not right. I need to go back to, because when we're in relationships, we kind of take each other for granted. We can get kind of locked into the nitty gritty of what are we having for dinner, what is our financial situation. We forget about this incredible experience that we're having, which is sharing love with another human being, which is this extraordinary thing that happens to ordinary people, all people. And they want you to kind of remember what it's like, how wonderful that experience of love is, to tune into that energy and to really nurture it. Maybe go on a date, maybe do a romantic gesture for your partner, maybe really reflect on the vows that you made on your wedding day and why they were so significant to you. Come back to that place of love, step out from that nitty-gritty day-to-day stuff and come back to what's really important in your relationship, and really nurture that. Commitment is coming through really strongly here. I need to remember that what underpins your commitment is that chemistry that you had and still have, you probably just forgotten about it, and that kind of emotional connection, which is incredibly special. I think I've spent enough time. Oh my goodness, it's 8 minutes. I've spent 8 minutes talking. I'm only up to Tuesday. Whoa, this might be a long video. Let's go into Tuesday. Still, it's romance. There's a lot you can say about romance, isn't there, right? It seems to be the number one thing that people are asking me for in readings. They want clarity on their love life, and for good reason, It's the act of being in a relationship with someone is incredibly, it can be easy, but it can also be really difficult. Learning to live with someone, learning to accept them, learning to be vulnerable. These are ongoing challenges that we have. So Tuesday, honour and trust your feelings. Now, this is more not about romantic feelings, this is about intuitive feelings. So one of the main ways that you can hear your intuition is through your feelings. If you're feeling uneasy about a situation, there's good reason for that. It's your intuition telling you something's not quite right there. And it might be your feelings telling you that you need to get out of a situation. And sometimes that can be because of all sorts of reasons. Maybe you are it could be that you're having a bad day. It could be that you're sensitive. It could be that you're premenstrual. It could be anything. But these feelings are generally deeper than those sort of temporary feelings. And they will be feelings that you've had before and they've come back again. Why are they coming up again? You need to do some examination of that, because we can't, sometimes we try and bury our feelings down because we just don't want to deal with them. We don't want to change a situation. It's almost a bit like what I was talking about, at the start of this this video with the planet Uranus, when it's prompting you to make changes and you're resisting that. Why are you resisting that? Is that because you're scared? Could be. Or is it because you don't want to make the changes that you're making because you think that you are living a life that pleases other people. You've signed up to live the perfect society life of the great home, the the model marriage and the perfect kids and the job for life, the secure, steady job that pays well, and that's still not giving you satisfaction. But you're trying to bury those feelings. I don't know. That could be you or someone you know, and you're feeling unhappy with that because it's not right for you, or something's missing, something that you haven't examined, and that could be you haven't really looked at whether this is actually the job that you wanted. Does it give you satisfaction, or are you just doing it because it looks good on paper or it makes you look good? Anyway, these are all questions that we all have to deal with at one point or another, and I know that when you come to the end of your life, you're probably not going to regret doing more things to please other people or doing more things that made you look like an important, successful person. Those sort of things, how things look and how they feel are very different, and it's your feelings that matter. Wednesday. Oh, okay, well, this is all about intuition again. New psychic and spiritual experiences are changing the way you view the world and yourself. So for some of you, it goes a step further than just the intuitive feelings that we're talking about. It'll be a prompt that you've been having to do more work as a light worker, like what I'm doing. It might be that you've been pushed to do a spiritual business or a healing business. For others of you, it'll just be reinforcing that message about needing to honour your intuition. What's it pushing you to do, and why? And why are you resisting? And it could be that you think that that's just your imagination, it's not right for you. Always ask for signs if you're not sure that the messages that you're receiving are right for you. And if you're scared that the messages you're receiving are too hard and you don't want to do them, ask for help. Please help me figure out a way to make this work. You'll be surprised at how the answers can come through. Ask for help. I'm being pushed to do some study, but I don't have the money and I can't look after my kids while I'm doing study. Ask for help. You'll be surprised how the money or the support can show up. So Thursday, the important thing is not to fixate on how the universe will help you, just to trust it to figure out the best way to help you. Thursday. Anyone else getting bored? I'm getting bored. What's going on? Is this the wrong deck? Yeah. Sometimes the answers come through easily, sometimes they don't. Yeah, that feels good. Okay. Trust. I'm seeing a pattern here, and it's very much about trusting your feelings and the messages that you're getting. So this card also speaks to trusting the universe and trusting that you're on the right track. Trust in the things that you cannot see but are true. Trust in the fact that you are going to attract a fantastic relationship that's healthy and supportive and is going to help you grow. Trust that you are going to create this dream that you've got, that you really want to create. Trust it's going to happen. Don't be put off by temporary challenges. Don't feel that a lack of progress now is indicative of a lack of any future success. Trust. Do I go back here? Yeah. Okay. Friday. Oop. Or do I? Friday, okay, we'll get there. As if this video wasn't already long enough. Leadership, fantastic. This is very much Leo energy right here. So leadership has a bad rep. We think of leadership as something that dominates and takes control of us. That's not the case. The power is yours to own and to use, and it's asking you to be a leader for yourself. Almost, I was saying the word rebel actually, which is quite fitting. Go your own way, do things your own way, be a rebel, Be exactly who you need to be. They're saying be the person that you needed when you were starting out in the world as going off to uni or heading into the workforce. What did you need? Did you need a role model who would tell you that it's okay to be yourself? A role model who told you that it's okay to make up your own rules? Someone who would show you that there's more than one way to go about this. Leadership, it's... Oh. For some of you, you do actually need to be leaders to other people. It's not just about leadership for yourself, although with Leo, I do tend to gravitate towards that interpretation because it is very inward focused. But being a leader for other people, and actually the best way that you can be a leader for other people is to live your life the best way you can, because that makes you a role model. The best leader, if you think about in the workplace, the best leaders you probably had were people who were actually good at their job and continue to be good at their job. They weren't just good at helping other people. They were good at getting on with it, and that made you admire them. The boss who bosses everyone else around and neglects their own duties, you probably had zero respect for. I've had plenty of them. And the corporate world is riddled with them. And they are very good at saying the right thing, but not doing anything. And that's not what a lasting leader leaves with you. You remember the good bosses, you probably also remember the crappy ones, but the good bosses who showed you different ways of doing things were probably doing that by doing it themselves, and you learned to mimic that. So, okay, this trumpet's also being drawn to my attention, and that's a symbol for your voice, for projecting yourself. There's a performance element to that. So this may be showing up for you in a need to communicate more clearly, to speak out, to say what needs to be said, lovingly, not aggressively. And also they're showing me like the Pied Piper. So that's very much a symbol, you know, the Pied Piper story of he was leading, well, I suppose technically he was actually hypnotizing them. That's not what you need to do, but you do need to lead people through speaking up and using your voice. And don't be afraid to stand out. That Leo energy is very much about standing out and being seen, because Leo is ruled by the sun, and the sun is all about how we shine, right? So, for example, for me, I have the sun in my third house, which is about communication. And you may be watching me kind of talk in circles and think, I don't really see that from her. But actually, I'm a journalist, I'm a writer, and that's where my communication skills come to the fore. That's where I shine, technically, I guess. So, you know, if you think about that, and you think about, which is also, by the way, my rising sign, so which is associated with your life purpose. So you can see that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to speak, to write, I guess, is what I prefer. But I was guided to do these videos, not something I'm entirely comfortable with, but I know that people are watching it and getting something from it. So even though I'm like listening to myself going, God, I'm off on a tangent, but I know that people are getting what they need from that, and that my job is just to blurt. And so I have gone off on a tangent, but the point is that I'm an introvert, and I would rather not do this sort of thing. It's quite... You know, it's not a very comfortable experience for me to be speaking to you right now, to be sharing so much of myself. But that's what I'm being pushed to do, because that's part of my life purpose. That communication stuff is what I'm here to do, to share my message. And that's very much this trumpet thing. It's about, you have to be in centre stage, whether you like it or not sometimes. And it doesn't mean you necessarily need to share. I don't share a lot about my personal life, but I am sharing the messages, and I have to put myself out there to do that. And I've learned to make peace with that, even though I'm not entirely comfortable with it. And maybe that you need to think about doing the same. So it's not just about being out there, me. I'm not asking you to go out and share bikini pics all over Instagram. It's not that sort of self-absorbed kind of putting yourself out there. It's more putting yourself out there to share what you have to offer the world, which is, again, that life purpose stuff. What are you here for? What are you here to share? What's your message? What's your purpose? So they're quite big messages. Saturday this is. Ooh. Oh, beautiful. Romance. So we have this message repeated again about romance. And it's telling you that romance is coming through. By the way, Leo is a very romantic sign, also very creative. And we've had a lot of messages about creativity of late in the last week or so. And maybe you need to take a creative approach to romance. Maybe if you're in a relationship and your relationship's feeling a bit more about purpose than it is about passion, maybe you need to do something creative together. Maybe you need to be creative about the way you spend time together. So think about it like that. For those of you looking for love, again, it's emphasizing that message from earlier in the week about knowing that it is out there for you and you are absolutely worthy of it. Do not think that it's out of your reach. Just because it's not happening right now does not mean it will never happen. So keep working on what you're working on there, because remember, the best way, you don't find love, it finds you, and it does that when you've developed a healthy relationship with yourself. So the best way to bring love into your life is to work on how much you love yourself. Sounds selfish? Totally not. It's not about that selfish kind of me. It's about looking after yourself. If you think about the things that you want in a partner, you have to make sure you're doing that for yourself. For example, if you want a partner who's going to make you laugh, are you able to make yourself laugh? If you want a partner who looks after you and comforts you, are you doing that for yourself? Or when you're hurting, do you beat yourself up and just reach for a vodka bottle? Do you, beat yourself up emotionally, I didn't mean physically, obviously. If you're looking for a partner who supports you, how are you supporting yourself? Or are you putting yourself down and telling yourself you'll never achieve anything? We really need to, a relationship can only ever be a reflection of the relationship you have with yourself. So Sunday, oh my God, it's 22 minutes already. Sorry guys. Well, you haven't had me for 2 weeks, so perhaps this will be long enough for 3 weeks worth of messages. Interesting. I've got 2 cards here and I'm going to go with both. The first one here is about mediumship, and this very much emphasizes that earlier message about being a light worker and working with your spiritual gifts. Only a very small number of you watching this will go, oh my God. Mediumship is not about communicating with angels, it's about communicating with people who've passed on. Now, everybody has the ability to do that, but not everybody wants to. I certainly don't, and I don't offer that service at all. It's very different. It's a different realm to communicating with angels. Humans who have passed on do not become angels. Angels are different. It's a different art to speak to them, and it's not something that interests me, so I've never learned to do it. Although we did touch on it briefly in a workshop. I did. However, if you already feel like you have this ability, then go develop it. The world needs more people who can do that, because if you can bring peace to people who are grieving, who feel that the person they love who passed on was angry at them, is hurting, is, they have regrets about that. If you can bring them peace, that's an incredibly powerful gift. Now, for some of you, what you might take from this is just, if someone you love has passed on, maybe this is giving you the peace that you need, just seeing this card. Because it is about people who have departed coming through. And again, because it's not something I offer, I can't give you any more than that. However, for most of you, it's the second card that you are going to gravitate towards. And it's about singing and dancing. It's about having some fun. This is Sunday. Weekends are for having fun. They're not about catching up on all the work that you didn't do during the week. Although, obviously, there will be an element of that. You want to make sure your weekend is about having some fun. So interestingly, with this card, they're highlighting this word down the bottom, express, and I'm being reminded of this trumpet again, because obviously communication is about expression. So how are you expressing yourself? Are you burying your feelings and not telling people how... Oh, gosh, I just kicked the table that the iPad's resting on. Sorry about that. You probably thought I was having some sort of earthquake. I'm in Australia, not New Zealand. That shouldn't be happening here. And perhaps that's happened because it was drawing your attention to the fact that you really needed that. How are you expressing yourself? Are you expressing your creativity? Are you Perhaps you've been thinking about doing dance classes for a really long time and you just haven't got around to it. You need to do that. And Leo's this Leo sun period, which lasts until mid-August, is a perfect time for doing that, because it is about that showmanship and about that performance, but also about creativity and self-expression, which is what dance is about, and singing. Now, I am a terrible singer. Ask anyone I know. Doesn't stop me. I sing all the time. On the street, when I'm listening to my iPod, I sing. I don't care. For a start, I'm too old to care what people think of me, but I'm doing this sort of work, like sharing these videos with you guys, where I've had to kind of let go of my desire to control how people see me, and just be totally fine and not worry about what people think of me. So, but ultimately, it's not just singing and dancing, it's about having some fun, enjoying yourself, playtime, getting in touch with your inner child, and just doing something that doesn't have a purpose. So it's not about achieving something. For example, when you clean your house, you're doing that to achieve a cleaner house and to achieve some sense of order in your life. And that's a good thing to do. However, doing something just for the sake of it, I mean, dancing doesn't really have a purpose. Well, it makes you fit, I suppose, but you do that mostly for fun. Same with singing. Creating art, of course, is a prime example. Going to your local playground and having some fun on the swing and the slide, that doesn't really achieve anything, but it makes you have fun. And so try to think about things that you're not just ticking boxes or doing things that have an outcome. You're doing things for the pure pleasure of doing them. It's sort of a sad state of affairs that we need to be reminded to do that, I think. Okay. I'm going to put that one aside and just focus on these ones. Whenever I have two cards or one card with two different meanings, I'll always present them both, but I might not present them both on Instagram, or I will be very quick to summarize them, because I'm aware of how many people are seeing these and I need to speak to the majority, but I'll always, for those of you who need that extra message, I'll always share it as well. Just maybe not devote as much time to it. So at the start of the week, we have a message about nurturing our romantic relationships and our love lives. Honor and trust your feelings. Try not to hide them down. Try not to dismiss them and go, no, I've made up my mind to do this. I'm just going to follow through with it. If you're getting feelings that you're on the right track, get off that track and get on the right one. It's not too late. It's never too late to make changes to be the person that you want to be. This message is about spiritual experiences and trusting your intuition, trusting the universe, trusting yourself, trusting the messages. I mean, those three are very closely related. Leadership, using your own power, self-expression, being who you are, being a good leader to others, if that speaks to you, being a good leader to yourself. Sometimes I get messages from people who say, I want to do this, but I don't really have any role models, or I'm not in the right group of people. And I say, you don't actually need a tribe. You don't need the people. Sometimes you do. Sometimes they can help you. And it's true that, there's a great saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Sometimes you just need to get started and then the right people you'll attract. But often you don't need them. I don't have a lot of light workers in my life. Most of my friends are not, and that's okay. There's no one else I know who's doing what I do in the way that I do it, and that's absolutely fine. You don't need to have role models necessarily, but by doing what you want to do and in the way that calls to you, you are a leader and a role model to other people, even though those people might not necessarily mimic exactly what you're doing. Romance, very similar to Monday's message, and a lighter touch, I guess, having some fun here. So the themes are really about listening to your intuition, trusting the messages you're getting, and honouring those feelings, and about being yourself. That's what they're really highlighting. This idea of going your own way, doing what you need to do. Don't follow the pack, lead your own pack. And also romance as well is a big theme for the week. So I'll put these on my social media channels. As always, my Instagram is @OneGroundedAngel and my Facebook page is called One Grounded Angel. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel to receive my messages. I launch them every Sunday afternoon, evening in Australian time. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, they'll be there all week that you can check them out at any point. If you want to contact me, if you want personal messages, you need to book a personal reading. I'm available to do that remotely. You don't have to be based here in Sydney. In fact, most of my clients are overseas, and I do that via Skype or email. Just email me onegroundedangel@gmail.com and let me know where you are so I can give you a price in your currency. And let me know what you're wanting to achieve as well, because sometimes it might be that I'm not the right person for you, particularly if you are wanting to contact someone who's passed on. I don't offer that. So, and you can also visit my blog for more information, including testimonials, and that's www.onegroundedangel.com. There's a contact form through there. Thank you so much. It's great to be back, and I really hope that you have a terrific week, and I know that it will be a lot better than last week, which was very challenging for a lot of people. Take care, everybody.